If he gets that down, having back and forth. Ooh, there's not getting a trap. Hiding around these two pallets. Just a game of the mind game. Blink! Missed the blink! No, guess what? Him in the mind's eye, going back and forth. There's not much this mind's eye can do, and it's gonna end up going down here.
Oh wow, Terror Shock as well.
A beautiful goes the spike going after the mechanic. But still, it doesn't matter. Because there's pressure all around, there's gonna be a standoff snap and a trap. But because sometimes Fafa has gotten in that wheel form, it is just, I'm going to chip you over and over. Oh, die away from everything. Now, like I said before, and the other time I've been commentating, ever sleep long? Can he grab it? Oh, get the shock off! Not, you just can't. Because the purpose of Wu Chang and how to capitalize on Wu Chang is you don't give him the early hit. Beautiful from Wu Chang! And there's a base hold, misses the hit here. Can the four go? Oh, there's a fourth. Go for it. Nice! Nice! I knew he was gonna land. You got it, bro. You got it. You got it. You got it. Nice! Nice! Why? Portal. Oh, yeah, got the. It was prime! No. Throw it down.
Oh, threw it.
No!
You got it off as well.
Oh, you got it! That's extremely
very well coordinated from them.
Nice.
In the game. If not the strongest area. And he does get
you as well, yo. Ooh, beautiful cut off here.
Excellent prediction. Excellent. But as it is, he's returning his hospital.
Ooh, nice!
Just blade, but also get rotating. But also, although all
together. Oh, get the fall blade here.
Oh, there's trapped in there.
Man was planning out his mid game, and oh wow, wow!
Oh wow!
Blink, nice! Ron.
Oh, excellent.
Went back and forth. Oh, and oh, hello. Are they gonna grab me? Is it prime? Oh, it's prime!
Oh, it's prime.
Wow! Run! Forward's in there going for the stun. He's trying to time it out.
He's going for the stun.
Oh, beautiful control!
He gets the stun.
I think the seer should have been watched a little bit longer. Like, I'd rather chase the seer than chase the... Oh my god.
Oh my god.
That was interesting. Going after the prisoner as well.
Yeah, able to locate the decoder.
Oh, beautiful.
Stopping him from being able to get the bolt and for her to get the free hit on him.
Oh, there goes a 4 going for a stun. Oh, beautiful stun on this Dream Witch, but...
Takes the bolt and she's gonna head. She's gonna get blinked on again though. Yeah.
Always long swing with Dream Witch. They can do.
Alright, welcome everyone to the second day of the last week of the regular season. So for today, we will watch Fuzion face off against WLR, and we have Our Memory versus XQ. So with these matchups, I am not quite sure if either Our Memory or XQ can still make it into the third slot. As for Fuzion versus WLR, this will be a deciding match which one of the two teams is actually gonna come out on top of Division B. So that's gonna be a great matchup. Definitely looking forward to that one, and we're starting off really strong today with that. Yeah, as for the other matchup, let me have a quick look because I don't know from the top of my head. I think that sadly both XQ and Our Memory are already out. Which means that Vendetta is through already. And, yeah. So, it's mainly today, what we're gonna watch is whether Fuzion or WLR will come out on top in this division. Also today, as a commentator, I will be joined by Wind. Welcome.
Hello, it's me, Wind. Very excited to be commentating today. I think Fuzion versus WLR will be a great matchup to watch. Very exciting. And both teams are very good, have very talented hunters and survivors. So it'll be exciting to see who comes out on top. XQ versus our Memory, although they won't be making it to the playoffs, I think will still be an interesting matchup to watch to see how they play against each other.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's kind of more like a honorable match against the two. So I'm definitely looking forward to that one. And like I said yesterday too already, a huge shout out to our memory and XQ, but also for yesterday. A huge shout out to to Arachna and Apple Pie, who also sadly did not make it into the playoffs. Yeah, they definitely did play to the best of their ability, and you have to keep in mind, especially for Apple Pie, for example, and I think the same goes for our memory too. Really new teams weren't here for last season, so fairly new teams, not as experienced as other teams we have seen in either of the two divisions, and for that reason, maybe not too surprising that they sadly couldn't make it into the playoffs this time. However, I'm very confident that these teams, if they just keep working, that they will definitely have a really good shot at making it into the playoffs next season. So I'm definitely hoping to see them back, and I am definitely hoping that not making it into the playoffs right now will not disencourage any of these four teams to keep working hard and trying to better themselves so they can eventually come out on top of this server.
Alright, so I think the bands are ready and we can go ahead and start looking at that.
Oh yeah, indeed. We are getting Lakeside Village as our first map. I think Fuzion was the team that chose Lakeside Village as a first map last time too, so I wouldn't be surprised if they actually chose it this map this time around too. I'm not 100% sure on that one, so don't quote me on it. However, we are
I think WLR was the one to choose Lakeside.
WLR. Alright. That's really interesting, I would say. However, we do know, I think from last season, Fafa's Soul Weaver on Lakeside, that was insane. We are gonna come through with here, Ben. So we have Mercenary Afford being locked in. Very safe picks. Mercenary getting that rescue off guaranteed. And then forward in case something goes down during the matchup. You have that opportunity to basically still turn it around. Interestingly enough, no mechanic being picked in the first two, which means that she is gonna get banned as the second survivor. Really smart, because that Cypher Rush is really strong. And I am once again not sure which team is hunting first. Let me have a quick look.
It looks like Fuzion may be hunting first.
Yeah, Fuzion is hunting first.
And so it looks like Ching is in the hunter slot right now.
Oh yeah, it's Ching indeed. Oh, I forgot. Ching indeed joined Fuzion. Wow. And we are gonna Prisoner Perfumer, and it's gonna go up against Dream Witch. Dream Witch on Lakeside, that's gonna be an interesting one, as Lakeside is a really big map. So it's not ideal for Dream Witch, however, Ching's Dream Witch, that definitely is something else.
It looks like he banned Seer first, and after they locked in the Rescuers, they might be trying to play more for a win here and not risking conceding the mech for a tie, as she is very difficult to kite with, although the Cypher Rush can be very, very strong with a mechanic. So it looks like Ching decided to ban the mechanic second to not allow them to do anything to rush the Cyphers too far.
You guys need to remove someone so far and invite their last person. Sorry, guys. Just, you know.
Wait, what? I could not hear what he said. I
think they're just waiting on the last survivor.
Yeah, I think. Hold up. I'll be right back. I'll just go ahead and ask.
But yeah, very interesting picks right now. Perfumer and Prisoner as the last picks. Prisoner is a very good decoder, so it looks like they want to keep up that Cypher Rush. Perfumer is an interesting pick because she is a very good kiter. However, usually Dream Witches do run Patroller, which is very difficult to deal with as Perfumer. If she can time off the Patrollers, maybe she can pull something off.
Because I do want to point out for a second, usually if Dream Witch goes ahead banning Seer as the first, it might be that they actually go start off with Blink, which would kind of make sense considering it is a larger map. But at the same time, the fact indeed that they use Perfumer might be a safer option still to go with that Patroller. She did of course get that buff that she can perfume the Patroller off, so she might still be very able to work around that.
I don't think that went through, did it?
No, it did, I think. Right? Yeah, no, it did.
I'm pretty sure that part of it was cancelled. So it's just other debuffs, like anything that would slow you down, but I don't think Patroller you might through.
I haven't seen it happen so far. I just heard talk of it on this. I have to admit that's the downside of not really being active in Grand currently myself. Otherwise, I might have seen it. It did not happen in tournaments so far, so you might be right. If that isn't the case, it's definitely going to be a lot harder on the Perfumer to deal with it in case this hunter decides to go with Patroller rather than Blink. So we'll have to see what's going to happen on that one.
It's like we're going in a bit. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this matchup. I'm interested to see how WLR will be playing against Ching, who is known for his Dream Witch. He's been playing Dream Witch for a very long time, is currently the first Dream Witch. So we'll see how he plays. And finding the prisoner immediately, as soon as he spawns in, this is the perfect target for Ching, the fastest decoder on the team, and the easiest target to chase. So it might be kind of difficult for WLR here. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's definitely unlucky, especially on a team comp like this. With the double rescue and the prisoner being the only decoding character, that your prisoner is being found right off the bat. The only good side for the prisoner is that he does get found on Big Boat. Ching sadly dropping down the hole, so now that does give the prisoner some time to actually work around. Ching doing his best to set his leeches up, had that one leech ready for when he was going to jump down that window. And there we have the first Patroller coming in.
Good stun to get to that pallet and force the first Patroller. He does take a hit very quickly, but Patroller, especially in an area where he did drop that pallet, is difficult to time off. And we'll see if Ching uses the second Patroller here to go ahead and get this down on the prisoner.
So far, it seems like there actually is rather good progress onto the Cypher machines, but the Perfumer is actually fairly close to plopping hers. And then Forward Mercenary also have some good progress onto it. Mercenary is also fairly close to popping, so this is a really good open guide for this prisoner, actually. Sadly, they go down on those two Patrollers. Not a lot he could do, especially as a decoding character. You do not really have a lot of defense, and being stuck in this beach, there's not a lot of options for you to go. It's kind of a death trap, so that's something they have to be mindful of here.
However, that was a very nice job of forcing out two Patrollers to get that down, and 3 Cyphers have popped now. So WLR just needs to finish 2 more Cyphers at this point.
Ooh,
the Mercenary got a free rescue, so he'll be able to continue to decode. They're in a very good position at the moment. The prisoner isn't near any Cyphers at the moment. Although he was kiting kind of close to the Perfumer, she was able to finish her Cypher before he went down. So it didn't disrupt the Cypher rush at all. So the survivors are in a very good position right now. It looks like only the Perfumer's decoding at the moment, but they will soon only have 1 more Cypher to do.
Yeah, so it is. Ooh, the forward indeed was hiding right there. Ching did not manage to spot him out, and now it's Prisoner is up and running. It was a beautiful stun too. No drop down hit, so that means that the Prisoner can immediately fold that pellet and get out of there. And now it seems like Ching, rather than just go ahead and chase the Prisoner once again, is trying to maintain some map pressure, try to push these survivors off by himself just a little more time in order to get that down.
Very nice perfume from the perfumer. She went ahead and risked decoding right in front of the spawn, knowing that she can probably react in time to perfume there, but she does take a hit right now, and now the pressure on that Cypher is much harder, although it is almost primed at this point.
Yeah, indeed. This is looking rather rough on Ching. They do need their 5th Cypher, however, so even if they manage to pop this, they do need another Cypher machine. However, so far, if WLR keeps saying it as safe as they are doing, they have a very good shot at least getting a draw out of this match. Of course, Dreamwitch is known to be a snowball type character, and especially with Ching, Ching is really good at turning that game around the middle of the match.
Great jukes from the perfumer. She does go down, but they were able to pop that primed Cypher in the middle, and now this last Cypher is getting done. It looks like forward Cypher on top of Big Boat is already around 70%, with Prisoner helping him decode that. So the Cyphers are getting done.
Yeah, indeed, and we see this Prisoner was able to decode. We do see that Ching is going to switch to Blink here, so we're not going to see any abnormal plays. Which does mean that the Cypher is very likely going to be primed on this second rescue.
Thanks to Prisoner decoding that other Cypher down there while also helping the forward boost the Cypher, that Cypher was done. Ooh.
Mercenary was forced to body block in order for the perfumer not to immediately go down again. This does mean that the Mercenary is going to go down, and that actually gives Ching a bit of room to work with.
Yeah, he does have a leech on the Mercenary, so when he goes down, he will be able to find him. And now he's free to chase everyone else with the perfumer's leech and the main follower. It's interesting to see what the survivors will do here. If they're gonna still try to play for a win, or if they'll try to concede a tie. But Ching's he's putting up a lot of pressure here, getting the down on the forward too. Depending on how this is played, he might even be able to pull off a win right here.
Yeah, no, this is a huge turnaround. So Mercenary is going to go down before being able to remove his leech. Forward was unsuccessful in getting away. Does still have some football left, so might still be able to make a play later on, but he is going to get charged for now. So it really comes down to what the Prisoner and the perfumer are going to be able to do here. The tension is going to run out before they will be sent back to the manor. So it definitely leaves them with some options. However, this Dreamwitch has a lot of leeches on the map, a total of 4 leeches.
Gets the down on the Prisoner here. Now the perfumer is the only one up, and she wasn't even opening a gate. She had to get rid of her leech. And since the Prisoner is now down, that's going to be 3 people on chair, and it's looking like, at most, a one-man escape for WLR.
Yeah, so the tension is going to run out, but the perfumer is still injured, so there's nothing this perfumer can do in this case. What a turnaround from Ching! And this is what I said.
We'll see if she can get the gate open.
Yeah. But if anyone excels at turning a game around the middle of the match, it is Ching. You saw how Ching was changing tactics, was basically chasing the Prisoner up until they had those Cypher machines down. Ching was starting to see that these Cyphers were getting finished a bit too quickly, and then just messed it up, went to go ahead, play some leeches, and set himself up for an end game, and in the end, managed a 4-man elimination. Very impressive.
Very well played. It was definitely a very difficult position that Ching was placed in. The ciphers went by really quickly. You know, the survivors did a great job of just rushing those ciphers, and even when he tried to put pressure to keep them from popping that middle and big bullet cipher, they were able to complete everything. However, like, he really took advantage of the pressure that Dream Witch has with the leeches and the spawn follower, and with detention, he just went around the map and got everyone down. Once the mercenary, who was the only one who could take a detention hit, took the hit almost immediately, Ching had a lot of free reign, I guess, over the map. He had a lot that he could do, and since no one ended up opening any gates, he was able to pull out a 4-man out of that position. He really took advantage of every second that he was given that the survivors weren't on a gate.
Yeah, definitely. And what also made it a little hard on the survivors part is that they actually opted to pop that middle cipher as their second last cipher. So that definitely works into Dreamwitch's favor, as you generally do not really want to leave middle ciphers open until later into the game against the Dreamwitch, because Dreamwitch can maintain a lot of pressure over the entire map from that middle cipher. So that's definitely already something that was a bit risky on the WL our survivors part. And from there on, with that pop, they might have they might have put themselves in a better position if they just waited a little longer with that rescue, because now the mercenary was forced to take that detention hit in order for the perfumer not to go down. And with that, the fact that the mercenary was leeched, wasn't able to deleach himself, it just means that he was going to go down. He was being found, and then forward sadly was also unable to outkite the Ching here. And from there on, yeah, that means that you have 2 characters on chair, and that leaves the most vulnerable targets on this team, an injured perfumer and a prisoner, to still try and get at least a draw out of it. And it proved to be too much for WLR to be able to do so at the start. So very well played once again from Ching, turning the game from Survivor's favor into his own favor. And now it's gonna be up to Fafa to tie up these 2 matches.
Yeah, this puts a lot of pressure on Fafa, but I mean, we've seen him pull through. Fafa's usually, I think, plays wheel first round and does very well with that hunter. I mean, I played against him myself in rank. He's a very good wheel, and I think Fafa will definitely put up a good fight and try to turn this around for his team. And we'll see how it goes. Fusion's also a very good survivor team. So I think it'll be very difficult to pull through, and I'm excited to see how it goes.
Oh yeah, no, you and me both. I'm always looking forward to see Fafa play, because Fafa is an amazing hunter. I would definitely consider Fafa one of the best hunters we're currently playing in ICL. So it's always a pleasure to see him play, especially when he pulls out that Soul Weaver too. Those snipes they hit different. I'll be honest, those snipes just hit different. Also, because I do see some people in chat also kind of talk about it. This indeed, it really proves that Ching is a really good hunter. In the sense, I personally would say a lot of hunters, they kind of start to panic around that mid game when they get Cypher Rush. There's a lot of hunters, once those 3 Cyphers already popped, and that's the first time you get the prisoner on chair, a lot of hunters would kind of panic around there. But you saw how Ching kept his cool, was just trying to get the prisoner down again, then forward stomp came in, which was once again really well done from WLR. But from that stun, Ching decided, okay, I'm gonna just change it up. I'm not gonna tunnel the prisoner anymore. I'm gonna go ahead and basically build myself up towards that end game. I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna leech some survivors. I'm gonna make sure that I get someone else on chair in the time that I create by pushing those survivors off their cipher machines. And from there on, you saw how Ching kind of played it somewhat patiently, even though he got cipher rushed. And in the end, you saw, especially with a character such as the Dream Witch, who excels later game rather than early game, that you can definitely turn it around if you just keep your head cool and just look at what you need in a game rather than just go ahead and try to eliminate your first survivor.
Yeah, Ching is a very skilled hunter in taking advantage of the survivor mistakes, because hunters are very difficult to play right now. The ciphers go by so fast. But if you make one mistake against a hunter like Ching, he'll take advantage of that and turn the entire game around, as we saw just now. When the perfumer was rescued and the mercenary tried to heal stall, I think due to some miscommunication or whatever might have happened, maybe they were just scared that he might pick up the perfumer somehow. They did pop the cipher, and so the merc had to take that hit, and immediately after that you could see how Ching just took advantage of that one mistake of merc having to take a hit immediately after the cipher pop and just turned everything around. He knew he wasn't going to be able to stop the game with an abnormal switch, and instead switched to blink, which really helped him out with his chase in the end game to make sure that he was able to secure all 4 kills.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think we can both say that when it comes to it, Ching just has an insane lot of game sense.
He's a very smart hunter.
yeah, no, definitely. And that's the scary thing about hunters such as Ching playing Dream Witch, because if you can manage to utilize survivors' mistakes to your advantage, Dream Witch becomes incredibly powerful. Dream Witch is definitely one of those hunters that kind of relies on the survivors to slip up somewhere, give away a free hit or so in order to get that win. Because basically, Dream Witch is one of those hunters too that later into the game forces you to heal up and de-leech, because if you don't do so, this is what happens. You have 4 leeches on the map at the end of the game, and there's no way you're gonna open these exit gates, because the hunter can just pressure every point in that map, and that's gonna be disastrous for you as a survivor team. So that's why the leeching is so important, because, for example, if these survivors, if WLR managed to de-leech before that last cipher pop, that would mean that there would have been less leeches, so maybe the mercenary wouldn't have gotten found, maybe the prisoner was able to open his gate because Ching was preoccupied chasing the forward, maybe the perfumer wouldn't have gotten found in the end game, because there are no leeches available in that area. But for the fact that they were, it just makes it a whole lot easier for Ching to maintain that pressure on the map.
Looks like the bands are going through.
A bit distracted on that, so we are gonna see Steerban once again, and this time Mechanic is gonna be picked first, which is rather smart. You just need to make sure that you get a draw out of this match. If you are the survivor team, you want to make sure that you get some survivors out of there. And Cypher Rush, once again, one of the strongest things in this game. So Mechanic is definitely your woman on that one.
Fafa going ahead to opt for the Seer ban, probably to hopefully to be able to find the Mechanic and get that first chase on her done quickly. So but like Fuzion immediately goes in for the Mechanic and forward picks, which are both very strong and will allow them to really change the game forward with both his rescuing and harassing potential. Can be a great risk to the Hunter. Mechanics decoding, and it looks like Fafa did ban Prisoner to avoid the Cypher Rush of a double decoder team comp, which put them into a position where they decided to go ahead and take Gravekeeper and Perfumer. No Mercenary, I think, since it looks like they just want to go ahead and counter comp his wheel so that it makes for a very difficult chase.
We're gonna see Ripper again. Ripper on Lakeside Village. I mean, Fafa pulled out Ripper earlier and was very successful doing so, but man, Ripper first round! I did not expect that.
Definitely an unexpected pick. I think he might just be going ahead to do that to maybe play around their counter comp a little bit. Maybe not quite comfortable going wheel, and comfortable maybe with trying to change things around and surprise them in a way, I guess. I think this will be very interesting. Ripper used to be one of the, if not the best hunter in the game many seasons ago, but has definitely
and Soul Weaver.
But he's definitely fallen out of the meta, and so it's very exciting to see him used in a tournament here. I think it will be very difficult for Fafa to be playing against this team comp, especially since Ripper doesn't have very much self-defense, and with a forward on the team, it can be very difficult to play around that, but we'll see how he plays. I mean, Fafa's a wonderful hunter, and I'm sure he's comfortable with what he's doing, so...
Yeah, no, definitely, but I'm just blown away. First round Ripper. Wow, I did not come out thinking that we were gonna see a first round Ripper today. I'll be honest, it is very risky because you do need a 4-man elimination here, and this is a really strong team comp. It was definitely a breaking wheel counter comp, but it's also very hard for Ripper to deal with this one.
Yeah, even though this isn't exactly what they expected, this team comp is still very strong against Ripper. So I am quite surprised, and I'm sure they are too, to see him play.
No, he's gonna go ahead and go towards the forward, trying to lure away, but still has eyes on that mechanic.
Spotted the mechanic, but she does have her bot out. So now it's just up to the mechanic to kite away from her bot and make sure that she lasts as long as she can and doesn't let him kill the bot so that it can Cypher Rush when she does.
Ooh, beautiful Foggy. But
very nice Foggy blade.
As long as the mechanic has mechanic getting mind gamed and getting the Terror Shock, what a great early game chase from Fafa. However, like you said, once again, mechanic does have her bot out, and that definitely poses a threat towards Fafa.
Here's the forward with the harassment, and he does have to just go ahead and chase the forward for a little bit, as Ripper does have no self-defense, but as he chases him away, he's able to peacefully chair the mechanic and probably going ahead to take basement here.
That definitely does put a bit more pressure on the team. However, they can just opt to sell the mechanic as she has her bot out.
Yeah, she does have her bot out. She is decoding, and 2 ciphers have been popped by the Gravekeeper and the Perfumer. The forward cipher is also just above 50, so really the survivors are in a good position here. They're not too concerned about losing the mechanic on chair, as to win the round, all they need is a 1-man escape. However, for points, of course, they'll probably be trying to get more people out, but that doesn't mean that they need to risk the save on the mechanic, as basement is a difficult rescue to make.
Oh, it seems like the Gravekeeper indeed is gonna go ahead, but Fafa Great job just keeping an eye out on whatever was going on around that basement. Was probably expecting the Gravekeeper, especially since Ford was getting chased. Did land a beautiful Foggy once again. Great mind game from Fafa here. Gets that no attack recovery hit. Ooh, beautiful play with that blink. Sadly, did not manage to stop the rescue, so well done from the Gravekeeper. However, Mechanic is instantly going down once again.
I think Fafa was trying to go for stuff there on that rescue in an attempt to really turn the game around. If he was able to get Gravekeeper down right there for another basement chair, he really could have turned that game around, possibly even into a 4-man, as at that point they would be forced to rescue. However, he was unable to land that blink in a way to stuff the Gravekeeper. So
yeah, it was
the survivors
like for the terror struck there, but Gravekeeper had great patience and did not let himself get baited with that one. Immediately probably pulled back when he saw that Drake switch coming in, so that's really well played from Gravekeeper. However, we now are at one cipher remaining, and it is primed. And the Ford is struggling free!
So without that chair, he does struggle out, and they do pop the cipher, and now the Gravekeeper is getting chased. However, he does have a shovel that he can use right here to stall out time. But now that the Foggy Blade was missed...
Connect, but... yeah, this is definitely looking like a draw, which favors Fuzion in this case.
Yeah. Looks like the Gravekeeper here is just going to be kiting around Shaq to stall as much time as he can. As he did switch to Blink, he would not be able to make it to that gate in time to teleport. So at this point, Gravekeeper's stalling as much time as he can, hoping that maybe he can get dungeon, but ultimately just kiting out for long enough for them to open the gate. So it looks like at this point it is a pretty secure draw, and it's just... yeah, the Gravekeeper does go down. There's not very many options for go right there.
No, especially since Fafa, of course, opted to go from Peepers to Blink, which means there is no late game teleport available, which it kind of set himself up for a draw from that moment on, for the fact that if he of course got the Blink Terror Shock off, if Boulders would have gotten stuffed on that rescue, that would definitely mean that Fafa was able to win this matchup. However, for the fact that Boulders was patient enough, did not let himself get baited on that Terror Shock there, managed to rescue with Ty Turner. Mechanic was taking the hit, so that means that Boulders could go out of that basement safely, and from there on, sadly not a lot that Fafa could do, for the fact that this is of course a Ripper.
Yeah, I mean, the trade switch to Blink was smart. It was basically, I think, Fafa realized that that was the one chance to turn the game around, because although the down was actually pretty quick mechanic, it is still a mechanic. And as such, the ciphers are just getting done very, very quickly. And so the one chance there is that since they went for the save, it's the perfect opportunity to turn it around by stuffing the rescue. Without a stuff on the rescue there, the ciphers just go by too fast for anything to really be done at that point.
Yeah, no, exactly. And yeah, that's just the danger with Mechanic, and that's why she is such a good draw type character. For the fact that even if she gets chaired, you can just let her sit on chair. It didn't really matter that Eli went down as early as he did. What mattered in this case is that Eli managed to deploy his bot, and that the bot did not get found at the start of the game.
Yeah, so it was... I think that was... it was a very good job from both sides. I mean, Fafa really did almost as much as was possible. It's just Ripper is no longer the amazing character that he was before seasons ago, where he was so amazing. I mean, the survivors right now, mechanics decoding. If you don't find her bot, she's going to decode a full cipher. Like she did a whole cipher while she was just sitting on chair.
Yeah, no, all the mechanic has to do is just bring snooze and then just go wild with that bot.
Yeah. And there's nothing you can do about it. If you don't find the bot's across the map, and she's just decoding peacefully, does an entire cipher while everyone else finishes their ciphers, and then the ciphers are just done, and there's nothing you can really do.
No, indeed. I just see some people kind of arguing in chat about Fafa, and I mean, the fact that Fafa was actually really close to winning this match. The only things that kind of bit Fafa back was the fact that Fafa did not spot that bot early game. That would definitely have worked into his favor, and the fact that Bowlers just basically outplayed Fafa on that rescue. If Fafa would have gotten Terror Shock, that would have been a win for Fafa, because that would have meant that the Gravekeeper would have ended up in basement. Forward was injured already, so the Perfumer was the one who had to go rescue. There's 2 ciphers remaining. Forward is the only character decoding at that time. So that's automatically a win unless Fuzion makes a really good play to turn it around. So with that, Fafa definitely tried his best. And you have to keep in mind, this is a Ripper on a rather large map in the current meta. That's definitely not favorable for Ripper. There's not a lot he could do, so getting a draw out of this match is at this point the best maybe that Fafa could have done. So saying that Fafa isn't as good of a hunter is definitely not accurate. I don't think that's accurate at all, especially since Fuzion is one of the best teams in this league so far. Actually came second in the first season. So, yeah, I definitely would not say Fafa is a bad hunter at all. Is it surprising to see a Ripper in the first match? Definitely, but Fafa might have a reason for picking Ripper this round. We do not know. They might have a trick up their sleeve in the later rounds. They might be confident that they have something that will change the game into WLR's favor in the later rounds. So definitely do not underestimate Fafa on the fact that he got a draw out of this match and not a 4-man elimination.
I see a comment that Fafa risked too much with the blink, and I actually disagree. Like, the blink was basically the only way that Fafa could go ahead and win that match. If without the blink, I mean, if he got a Terror Shock on the Gravekeeper, that of course could have worked too, but Terror Shocks are very hard to pull off, especially with slow attack like Rippers. And the blink right there was his best chance to stuff that rescue. And without stuffing that rescue, it's straight up just a tie at that point, as long as Fuzion plays the way they have already been playing. They're a good survivor team. They're very smart. And Fafa knew that that was his one chance to turn that game around, just because there is a mechanic on that team, which just puts him in a very difficult position.
Yeah, and I saw someone say high risk, high reward, and that's exactly what it is. Ripper does definitely rely on such plays. If you just play it safe, just kind of play the game without many mistakes on either side, it would become a draw, obviously, because you have mechanics, so Ripper obviously gets Cypher rushed. Ripper is good in chase, however, so did get that down early on. So for that reason, if you play a hunter such as Ripper, such as Soul Weaver too, you have to really give it to Fafa for being able to pull such things off. But if you play non-meta hunters, you have to look and create, because it's not even as much looking at this level, it's more so creating at this level. You have to create situations where you can pull plays that are game-changing for you as a hunter, because if you do not create them, they won't happen. And that's why you see things such as that blink switch, because if that Terror Shock would have landed, it would have been a game-changing moment. And that's what Fafa was trying to create in that moment.
Yeah, just going ahead and creating the situation himself instead of just hoping that the survivors mess up. He was going ahead and taking the game into his own hands to change things around, hopefully. And unfortunately, Polars just did a very good job right there. So unfortunately for Fafa, he wasn't able to get that out there, but it was still a very smart play right there.
Yeah, also I see someone asking about the ICL token. So if you join our Discord server, there is a betting channel, or bot channel I should say. And in there you can bet ICL tokens on whichever team you think is gonna win. And if your prediction is right, you will win ICL tokens, more of them. And at the end of the season, whatever player or players, we're not sure yet, but at least the person who comes in first will win Discord Nitro for 1 month. Anyhow, we are already going into the bans. Sorry again, I was not paying attention. We are getting Moonlit, so another really big map. Seems like we are gonna see a Seer and Perfumer ban, which kinda would indicate a breaking wheel, I would say, which is getting banned, so we're not gonna see that. Might be that they got a bit thrown off on that one, not sure. However, Seer and Perfumer...
It does look like Fafa will be playing first here.
Yeah, indeed. Prospector coming up. I mean, I kind of skipped through all the other characters, but I just see the Prospector loading in. I'm like, all right, that's interesting, because Prospector has actually been used quite a bit in ICL, so we have seen quite a bit of Prospector on the other servers, however not really in NAEU. We do know that Dr. Disrespect is a really good Prospector main, so I am assuming he's the one who is gonna play Prospector here. But Prospector is not a bad character at all. Definitely not. So that's not why I'm surprised to see him here. I'm surprised because in NAU we haven't seen many Prospectors being used, especially in tournaments.
So Moonlit, with these bans, I think it may be more likely to see the wheel come out here. Not sure, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, the wheel is banned.
Fafa's always ready to surprise. Alright, yeah, the wheel's banned, so my bad. It would I think he would have been ready to play the wheel, but with these bans, pulling out the spider finally?
I mean, it's fair. Fafa, of course, an amazing Soul Weaver, so I shouldn't even be really surprised to see Soul Weaver here, but I can still remember that Soul Weaver game that Fafa played against Sus on Moonlit. Those amazing snipes. I am ready to see more of them. Moonlit is a big and quite open map, so Fafa can definitely manage stuff like that. I'm really excited. I'm really hoping that Fafa is gonna pull some tricks like that out in this case. On that note, though, Mechanic just poses a huge threat once again to Fafa, because once that bot is out, Mechanic can get shared, but if that bot can decode, it will decode.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how Fafa doesn't ban the mech. Usually that's one of the first bans for the majority of hunters. Very few hunters will not ban Mechanic immediately. So it's interesting to see that the Seer and Perfumer were banned. I think Fafa was trying to put himself in a position where, you know, you're banning characters that counter multiple of your hunters. I think Perfumer and Seer are both difficult to deal with, both as Breaking Wheel, as Spider, as Ripper. So it's understandable to see those banned, but I am, of course, surprised to see no Mechanic ban. And the entomologist spin, I think, makes a lot of sense since after the wheel ban, Fafa was probably pretty sure of going Spider. And entomologist is a very difficult chase for most hunters, and of course, Spider as well.
Yes, so Mechanic is the one who spawned at that second stop, which is exactly where Fafa is already heading towards. And there is that bot. Is Fafa actually going to be able to kill this bot? Does get straight for a bit? It's not actually opting to go for the bot and is going to go straight for Mechanic once again. So we'll once again see Eli with the opening kite as Mechanic. That's really bad luck actually for Fuzion. Having the Mechanic being found twice in a row as the first target. Is gonna go use Coaster, however Fafa did already set up those webs, so he's just gonna speed over. Mechanic of course still has a bit of distance, and Priestess is the one who is in his building and is gonna try and help out the Mechanic, but was sadly not able to pull this portal in order to help the Mechanic out. So that's once again an early down on the Mechanic, but is it gonna matter? That's the question here.
It was very smart to try to go ahead and support there, but looking for that web shot. But unfortunately, it looks like the Priestess wasn't there quite early enough to pull off that support portal, and so the Mechanic did end up going down from that. You see the Priestess rescuing here.
And Priestess is being smart going upstairs, as Fafa is very notorious for getting that second spit hit on the rescuers. So what Fafa did here was get that spit hit, get the regular hit, and try and finish it off with the second spit hit in order for the double down. So Priestess going up, really smart play.
But now here, like, if you look at Fafa's presence, he's one spit away from full presence, which means if he lands the next one, he will have it back immediately. So if anyone goes for a rescue here, it would be very risky and a high chance with Fafa's accuracy for them to take 2 hits right there.
It is gonna be the mercenary, so he's definitely safe.
Took the first one. Took the second one. Fafa was unable to terror shock that, but did get the double hit on the mercenary.
And now Mechanic is gonna have to kite this out, but cannot do so. Fafa is just too quick. That Spider is... Someone in chat said it too, that Ferrari Spider. I think that's a good way to put it.
Fafa has a really smart playstyle of saving up webs until he knows that he can get a hit, and then he puts them all up and the survivor can't do anything. And the Merc is down right near where the Mechanic was, so that's another chair immediately after the Mechanic is sent back to the Manor, which is putting the survivors in a much more difficult position now that they still have 3 ciphers left to finish.
Yeah, definitely. The double down was definitely not something they could afford, so Priestess is just gonna make Global get out of there. Because she can only take 1 hit, but Fafa switching to teleport.
Very good teleport right there, because now he's cutting both of them off from the rescue. Although the Priestess has portals, she is 1 spit away from dying.
And 1 spit and it's all over.
And the Prospector can't really go over there either, as
Fafa's doing a
Fafa
great
is...
job, indeed, cutting off both the Priestess and the Prospector. Did realize that in order to get the win here, he does not need to hard chase the Priestess. He does not really need to tunnel. He just needs to confirm his kill on the Mercenary from there on. Priestess only 1 spit it, so even if they heal up, all that Fafa needs to do is get 1 spit and a regular attack. So it all comes down to the Prospector here, but they still need 3 ciphers.
Yeah, the Mercenary did end up going down. Oh, that spit on the Priestess!
No way, that hit! Wow.
Awesome play from Fafa, pulling out the spider moves that everyone was so excited to see. That's exactly what we expected. Fafa, and it's awesome to just see that pulled off right there.
Yeah, no, definitely. That was beautiful. Oh my, I cannot believe he actually got that.
That was
beautiful.
amazing. The priestess with her fast healing did pick herself up and finish that cipher, but there are still 2 ciphers remaining to finish, and it looks like here.
Oh, that's the terror shock. Gets the
Excellent
spirit
down on the
Due to
prospector.
that slow fold, Fafa is definitely coming back. Fafa said, I'm not gonna tie again. I'm not here to draw out these matches. I am winning this.
Although they've been Poland, which is Fafa, one of Fafa's strongest hunters, Spider is still the original Fafa hunter, you know? He's very comfortable with this hunter, and really showing that in this game right here. Pulling off really great moves right here.
Absolutely insane.
Went ahead and canceled that super portal so that they're not able to heal up. Very nice job from Vafa there, teleporting to the prospector, because now there's a long cooldown on that priestess's super portal, so she won't be able to try that again for a long time.
Yeah, indeed. And what Fafa basically did do here is just,
Ooh.
no way, that hit too!
Nice
I did not even know that
job
was
from
possible.
Fafa's really doing an amazing job here.
So Prospector did pick himself up, so what Fafa kind of tried to do here was just basically force the Prospector to self-pick rather than just get healed by the Priestess. Priestess is gonna go down, so no self-heal available for this Priestess as she already picked herself up.
He no longer has to worry about the super portal play, and is now able to just go ahead and try to find the Prospector, get him down to secure that 4-man elimination. Amazing job from Fafo so far.
Yeah,
and there's the down on that Prospector, which gets that 4-man elimination. Very great comeback right there.
wow.
Fafa did an excellent job. And I think this will be securing a 3rd round between these 2 teams.
Yeah, definitely.
As
indeed mean that there's going to be a 3rd round. I'm just, man, I need a second to come back from this match because we asked for it and Fafa delivered. Beautiful snipes once again. Beautiful Soul Weaver gameplay. A 4-man elimination with a hunter that has fallen out of the meta for quite a few seasons already. Absolutely insane. And I am really glad we got to see all of this live today.
Fafa is amazing at utilizing all the tricks with Spider and getting that right there with the presence trick when he was 1 spit away from full presence and was able to get the double hit on the mercenary, really clutched out that game for him. So that was very, very cool.
Yeah, no, definitely. Wow. I have no words for this. It's just Fafa really delivered, and I think what we said earlier about Fafa Fafa definitely showed that we didn't say a single wrong thing about him being nothing but an amazing hunter, being able to pull this off meta, creating these opportunities for him to change the game from a set draw to a victory for himself. Really well played.
Yeah.
And that snipe on the priestess, though, the first one, wow,
that was really good.
I'm betting Numer did not see that coming. Unfortunately we did not get to see the priestess perspective, but I am 100% sure Numer did not see that one coming, because I know I wouldn't have seen that coming.
Yeah, that was a very nice play. I mean, again, Fafa really knows how to turn the games around in his own favor instead of just waiting for a mistake and instead just playing it out and forcing the game in his favor.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. I'm just blown away. I am simply blown away by Fafa's skill. I cannot put it any differently. That was beautiful.
Very, very nice. And so
I have to give it to
looks like-
Fuzion because they didn't even play it that badly. It's just the fact that there was a double down on the mercenary. Fafa likely decided to go ahead and web the mechanic on that bridge, knowing that there was no way for the rescuer to avoid any of those spit hits. So Fafa basically just tried and set himself up for a double down with that web play right there. Mercenary indeed going down for that rescue, and then double down, and from there on, Fafa making sure that both the priestess and the prospector couldn't work around him and rescue the mercenary, and from there on, it was just a win for Fafa. Even though
it was
Mechanic had that bot out at the start.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate for the survivors that the mercenary died near where the priestess was, because she was forced to use that super portal to get to the prospector across the map. And as a result, he knew where both of the survivors were, and when they were in the same location, he was able to break that super portal and go ahead and just teleport to prevent the rescue on the mercenary and really just secure that win during that matchup.
Yeah, indeed. Also, Robert, thank you very much for the donation. I mean, I'm not sure if I told everyone so far. I think most people know. But all donations will go directly into the prize pool for the 3rd season. So any donations or just you viewing the ads on the stream will go straight into the prize money for the winners of the 3rd season. We sadly could not do so for this season, but next season, all the money will go straight to the teams that will win the 3rd season of ICL. So thank you very much for your support, because thanks to you, we are able to invite even greater and better teams into ICL.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So,
we are gonna go into the bans once again. Second part of the 2nd round.
Looks like Ching went ahead to ban Seer and Mechanic, and the survivors banned his Dream Witch, if I'm not wrong.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's fair. I would ban the Dream Witch too.
Very fair. Yeah, Dream Witch is known as one of his best hunters. It's Moonlit, and Ching is a hunter that has quite a few options of who to play, so I am interested to see who he might be pulling out now, whether it's Poland, Sculptor, or Axeboy. We'll find out.
Mm-hmm.
With
I
the Seer and Mech ban.
X-Boy on Moonlit again. That he pulled out against B4U and Koei.
Yeah, with the Seer and Mech ban, it really could be any of the 3.
That's true.
Those are good bans for all of those for all of the characters he plays, and so he's not really giving away who he's playing with his bans. So they banned his Dream Witch, and he has other options to choose from. So we'll see what they end up doing.
Yeah, indeed.
Looks like the survivors did pick Priestess and Mercenary first.
I mean, Priestess. It's Priestess on Moonlit. So,
Yeah.
whatever Ching decides to do here, it's gonna be really bothersome to deal with Priestess. Unless, of course, they decide to go with Breaking Wheel. Because Breaking Wheel doesn't get stunned by the portal, so he isn't too affected. Still, the global portal does pose a threat, because this map is so big. If the Priestess makes a really good global portal, will still take a bit for Breaking Wheel to get over there. Not as long as other hunters. He's definitely still able to continue his chase, but still, that global portal is annoying to deal with, even for a breaking wheel. Also, Ebby, thank you so much for your donation as well. Honestly, the amount doesn't even matter. Like, every small bit helps, so thank you very much. I love you.
Looks like the next ban is a forward ban. Always a smart ban to use. Forward can really change games around. It's a very wrong rescuer and kiter as well. So definitely a survivor that you don't want to be facing, especially when to tie out this round, Ching does need to get a 4-man.
Yeah. So
if
both
he ties the round,
indeed, are really good.
If he gets a 4-man, he can tie the round. However, if he doesn't get a 4-man, WLR will be taking this round, and in terms of rounds, the two teams would be tied.
Yeah, indeed. So, once again, a lot of pressure on Ching here. Of course, Fuzion did already take the first matchup, so it's not a disaster if Ching doesn't get that 4-man elimination. But you definitely want to maintain this lead that you already got. If you give it away, suddenly the score will become tight, and it's not really something you can afford in a tournament where you only play 3 rounds. Of course, like I said, both Fuzion and WLR are already into the playoffs. This matchup is being played basically to see whichever of those teams will be the number 1 from Division B.
Mm-hmm. So
And
it looks
with
like
that,
we're waiting on the last 2 survivor locks.
Yeah, so with that, I'm just gonna go ahead and explain a little bit more about the playoffs, because the top 3 from either divisions will make it into the playoffs, but there will be a winner's bracket and a loser's bracket. So basically the bottom 2, so like from Division B the number 3 and from Division A the number 3, they will face off against each other in the loser's bracket, and what happens there is that they basically need to fight their way up. As for the other bracket, that will be the winner's bracket, that will be played out a bit more normally, so a bit more forgiving. So let's say the loser's bracket, if you lose a matchup, you're out. If you lose a matchup in the winner's bracket, you will move down to the loser's bracket. Kind of goes like that. So the winner's bracket, if you lose there, it's a little more forgiving. Oh, there we go with the survivor picks. Banner and Prisoner.
Interesting picks, but both very strong survivors. I think, once again, against anyone who he might play, they can hold their own. So I do want to see what Hunter he ends up picking to go against this team comp.
Yeah, no, definitely. Also, why B4U is not participating? B4U tends to focus more on the official tournaments, and indeed, I think it's being said here too. B4U doesn't generally participate, and this also goes for other teams, such as Define, for example. They do not really participate because there is no prize involved. So, you know, maybe in the future, because we are gonna offer a cash prize in the future, thanks to all of you. You guys are the ones who are making sure of that. But yeah, thanks to that, we will offer a cash prize in the future. So maybe we'll see these teams in ICL later on. Who knows? But for now, they don't participate because there's not a lot in there for them right now. Sculptor!
Alright, Sculptor, a very strong hunter, as I think we've seen many times throughout the regular season already. Very difficult to face, this is. It is moonlit, and these survivors can hold their own against Sculptor, but it is a bit more of a fragile team comp, as some of the strongest supports have been banned. Second round Sculptor is definitely a force to be reckoned with. So,
Oh yeah, no, that extra survivor band can definitely throw off a survivor's game. For the fact that right now, normally you would only see, well, mechanic would be banned, and then maybe something like forward, for example. But now the steer band coming in too, so definitely make sure that these guides are being cut even shorter. That's definitely gonna be really rough to deal with, especially like survivors such as Painter and Prisoner. Like, they're not bad survivors at all, but especially once that sculptor gathers presence, there's not much they can do.
But yeah, I mean, right here, it's definitely going to be a bit riskier. Ching has put the bans in a way that really anyone on this team can be chased. Merc is, of course, the least desirable chase, but really, he can go ahead and chase any of these characters here, which is very convenient, as the rotation will be a lot more difficult for the survivors to pull off to make him not chase like a priority target.
Yeah, exactly. Also, Joanna and Lowly, thanks both of you for the donations as well. You guys are going well today. Thank you so much. This is insane. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Who set up ICL? It was Eli, Mayhem, Warden, and me, basically. I think us four mainly are the ones who have been... Yeah, we've been here from season 1, done the most in order to set this up, I would say. So yeah, I think it definitely comes down to those 4, and then of course there's all the moderators who've been working hard on this. We've got a new referee, which is Jules. Wind, of course, is here with me today, and for the other commentators, Mikitsune, Arcas, we have Olive, who's currently streaming for us, we have Angel, who's been streaming for us yesterday, and I'm definitely forgetting some more people, but as we are currently loading into this match, I have to cut it kind of short there. I can definitely name everyone who has been working out on this at the end, but yeah. For now, just gonna focus on the match. Shout out to Ryan though for coming through with another $20 donation. Thank you so much. I feel like the bands are getting faster. Yeah, they are. WLR and Fuzion definitely seem to know right away what they want to play and what they want to ban. They definitely made up their mind. Probably did a lot of homework on each other too. Getting that broken carousel spawn. And it
looks like rotating towards the mercenary first. Of course, the one character that you don't want to be finding first on this team comp. It looks like he will be leaving.
Unlucky with his first chase or his first survivor find as compared to Fafa.
It looks like here does know someone else is nearby. Painter vaulted out
but Gwen
did get out of range.
Kick in, so.
And it looks like the prisoner's already rotating away from his
And
cipher.
there we have the henching effect. Is Ching gonna go after the prisoner? Prisoner is doing a great job just staying away from the cipher machine so that Ching cannot teleport right onto the prisoner here. Global has already been set up, so Priestess is just gonna go through in order not to take any unnecessary damage.
It looks like Ching is going to teleport to the Painter as he is on a cipher, unlike the prisoner. So we'll see how this chase goes. Painter is a very annoying character to chase, but he does get that first hit right there. And we'll see if the Painter can finish off his first painting and get away.
We indeed can. This is a really good start for WLR. A lot of time is being wasted.
Alright, taking that all the way across the map, and after Ching had used his teleport, so he can't even teleport to catch up now. The painter got so much distance with that stop button being off, and now he's going to be able to get healed, and it looks like it's possible that the prisoner will be the one getting chased now, unless he does decide to continue going for the painter. And it looks like he is going to go back to the painter, but now he's fully healed once again and has his painting that he can go ahead and use.
You really do have to give it to WLR. They really know how to play that early game. Painter is going to take 2 chip hits here, but is able to get that painting down and gain some more distance. Will it be enough? That is the question here. Priestess is
Very
being
good.
forced off of that Cypher machine though. Ooh, gets a Terror Shock! That's huge in favor of Ching. Especially since this is a sculptor, of course, you do not want to give any unnecessary presents. This is great for Ching. That definitely puts Ching somewhat back into the game. Ciphers are getting finished. Because, of course, they did waste a lot of time, but because they were rotating so much, they also lost a bit of cipher progression on that one. So the Terror Shock coming in is definitely not good for WLR.
Looks like the mercenary is going to go ahead and go in for that save, and now Ching is full presence with 3 ciphers still remaining. And the painter does go down before he's able to finish that second painting. I would be surprised to see them rescuing at all here at this point, as it would be a very difficult rescue to make, and the mercenary has already taken so much damage. With 2 ciphers remaining, it may be in the survivors' best interest just to decode right here, maybe give to Nidus to keep him by the chair.
I mean, they do have the final 2 ciphers that are being started on, so it's not looking too bad. They only need 1 survivor out of there, but man, that full presence here. Shizzle coming in, getting 2 chip hits now on the prisoner. 3! The prisoner has gone down on the chips, and there's the painter immediately going down too. This is a huge change in favor of Ching.
Yeah, this is suddenly very different. It was a good rescue from the priestess, taking advantage of distraction, but the prisoner did end up going down, and the painter went down immediately after as well. And now he's just opting to pressure those ciphers, hoping to maybe get that mercenary down so that they can't decode, and no one can really... It's very difficult for anyone to save right now if he does get it down soon, as, of course, Sculptor full presence is quite a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, no, definitely. So it does seem like they're gonna heal up here, which is indeed what they need. However, Ching knows that with the few plays he just made, that he is back into this game. They do not have these ciphers primed yet. They definitely need to play this safely, as the painter has already gotten eliminated.
To be honest, I was quite surprised to not see him teleport to the prisoner at that cipher, as if he had done that, then it would have been a very difficult position for the WLR survivors, as the 2... Sorry.
It's okay.
The 2 survivors, it's a priestess and a injured merc. It's difficult to make that rescue for both of them. And he was also near one of the last 2 ciphers, but now they've had the chance to heal up. And the last 2 ciphers are very far. This bridge cipher is primed, and it looks like the priestess is waiting for the mercenary to finish up that cipher inside of 2 stories so that she can pop whenever she needs to the bridge cipher.
Yeah, prisoner is doing a great job containing Ching right here. There's only so much he can do, of course, but he's definitely, with the resources he has, definitely making the best out of it. Hasn't gotten shared yet, so they are able to make a play, especially since the priestess is fully healed up. But yeah, Ching knows so too, and is just gonna go over to the mercenary cipher machine, knowing that is the final cipher to be popped.
The priestess is going in for that rescue.
And it seems like the game is getting paused.
Yeah, it looks like the priestess was lagging a bit as she was going in for that rescue. So hopefully they can sort everything out right there. But yeah, this is an interesting position for both of them. It's going to be difficult, I think, for both sides to play this out. I think at this point it can be a tie for both of them, but obviously I think both sides want to go for a win, and it's not like they're not in a position where they couldn't. Like the survivors can always pull off a dungeon play, and the sculptor can definitely work something out if she stuffs the save or something like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, the game ultimately is in Ching's favor. As you could see, Ching instantly went to that cipher machine, then just put his chisel on the chair. So even though the priestess is gonna go over to rescue, and it's likely gonna rescue, Ching is gonna make sure that both of them are gonna take some damage doing so.
Alright, and it looks like we're going back in. Hopefully everything's alright. The priestess is going in for that rescue, and it looks like since Ching is kind of on top of that cipher, the mercenary isn't able to decode it right now. The priestess is able to make this rescue.
Yeah, now
so it looks like they might be trying to play a slow game here, heal up, and try to play safe. The Merc hasn't been on chair yet, and the cipher right there in 2-story is almost primed. It looks like it's around 90-95%.
It is definitely really close to being primed, so they are gonna heal up here, which is definitely the smart thing to do. If you make sure that the priestess and the prisoner are healed up, they can push that cipher machine. Mercenary is gonna go down. Not much he could do was out of elbow pads, so against the full presence sculptor, there's only so much you can do. There's only so many statues you can avoid, and as you can see with experienced sculptors such as Ching, they don't just rely on chip hits to basically get in that damage, but what you also see is that they block off certain routes, certain pallets to make sure the survivor has to double back, and with that double back they have to do, it gives Ching enough time to catch up to the survivor and get a regular hit rather than just a chip hit.
Yeah, so since the sculptor's not chairing the mercenary, survivors do have a lot of time to work. So the prisoner is going to go ahead and start working on a new cipher, just to be safe. And the priestess is going to go ahead and prime that cipher. It's now primed, and she can go ahead and go for the rescue. And if you look at his build, Ching doesn't actually have detention. So getting as much damage and stuff as possible and maybe stuffing this rescue is very important for him.
But sadly it wasn't enough. Prisoner doing really well using that connection in order to pop that 2-story cipher, as he didn't physically need it to be there. Priestess is sadly instantly going down. Teleport is back up, so even though Ching doesn't have detention, might still be able to clutch up a win here. Especially
like that
Priestess
is
open. At the gate.
Yeah, it looks like that gate is open, but the mercenary is going to be hiding out. Dungeon is at working carousel, and that gate is open, so the prisoner can escape, but now it's up to if the merc can escape or not.
Whoa, beautiful dodges from the prisoner.
It looks like he is scared of the possibility of this getting rescued, and so the merc is able to make his way back to the gate, and it looks like the prisoner was moving in just in case.
Escape. Those statues are not gonna be enough to down the mercenary here, and it's gonna be a draw for these survivors. Unless, no, the prisoner has gone out. He is full health though, so I think he has a good
I think he's gonna go ahead and just try to run for dungeon right here. Wait for that to open up. Not take any statues. Since so many statues were used on the mercenary, he's able to dodge the few remaining ones and clutch dungeon right there for a tie.
Really well played from WR. It definitely wasn't looking too good for the survivors halfway into this game with the terror shock. And from there on, they were put in a very difficult spot, but WLR did an amazing job actually pulling themselves together, saying to themselves, alright, we're gonna play this safe. We're not gonna try and give this full presence sculptor named Chig any more opportunities to get in between our cipher progression. So they managed to heal up Priestess and Prisoner, moving all the way to the other half of the map to heal up. Prisoner using his connection to be sure that they could pop that cipher machine. And from there on, Priestess getting that rescue did of course get stuffed. The beautiful pop from the Prisoner. And from there on, even though the Priestess went down as quickly as she did, they still managed to get to the other exit gate. So really well played from WLR. This means that both the rounds and the points too are completely tied up. So it's going to be up to the third round to see which two of the teams is going to take that first spot in Division B.
Yeah, so they're just completely tied up now. They WLR really turned it around in this second round. Fafa getting that 4-man with Spider, and the survivors clutching out that tie against Sculptor. So third round, I think, is going to be very interesting. It's going to be a lot of pressure on both teams to play as well as possible and get as many people out as they can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen. Of course, you have to keep in mind, I already see some people, Fafa is going to be in trouble. I mean, not really. Fafa, we've seen Fafa play Ripper. Did get a draw, but you have to keep in mind that was on Lakeside. Both Lakeside and Moonlit have been chosen, so there's no more big maps to pick from. And with that, this is a third round, so that means one team gets to pick a map and the other team gets to ban a map. So they don't have a lot of options for maps. And if you keep in mind that, for example, if Fuzion wins, if they would go ahead, if WLR would go ahead, ban, let's say, Sacred Heart Hospital, for example, because that's also fairly five-sided map. That means that, or I shouldn't say Sacred, maybe Ever Sleeping. Of course, it's not ideal, it's still Ripper, but all these maps are still considerably smaller than that Lakeside would be. Of course, also less open, but we know from Fafa they can still make that work. But yeah, what I wanted to say, with these big maps that are not in there anymore, Fafa still has an opportunity to come back on that Ripper on a different map.
Yeah, so I'm definitely excited to see what strategies both of these teams will be pulling out right here. I mean, the Hunters, I'm curious to see who they'll be playing, and also what survivors will be picked, as in third round there are so many bans. It's 4 survivor bans total, if I'm not wrong. So that's a lot more limited for the survivors to choose from. However, there are still plenty of survivors, so it's not like all their options are taken away, but it'll definitely be interesting to see.
Yeah, and that's definitely, I'm not sure if I talked about this before, but I definitely have to give it to the developers with this new ban system. I really like it a lot more than the old one, for the fact there is a lot of survivors in this game, and there's a lot of survivors that, to a certain extent, can do the same things. So of course you have the meta picks who excel at what they do, but when they get banned, there is still like some sort of backup option. Like, they are not as good as the meta survivors, but they're still alright. They can still do their job, and they work relatively the same way. But as for hunters, if your hunter gets banned, you have to play something completely different. Not any of these hunters, they are all very different from each other, so you need way more time to master another hunter than you would need to master another survivor. And for that reason, I really like this new ban system, because it just gives hunters a bit more freedom to play what they want and be able to make it work, for the fact that there are so many survivors. So yeah, definitely like that. Does seem like we are gonna go back into the bans. We're gonna see Sacred Heart. Funny, I talked about that. But yeah, Sacred Heart Hospital coming in with the Seer mechanic and forward, and Soul Weaver respect ban. I like that. Of course, sad we're not gonna see Soul Weaver. We're also not gonna see Breaking Wheel from Fafa today. Are we gonna see another Ripper game? That would be fun. Who knows? I think Fafa played Ripper in earlier into this season on Sacred Heart as well, but I'm not quite sure on that one. Priestess and Mercenary once again. A Priestess is gonna be really painful to deal with around the hospital, I'll be honest. Of course, they did kinda shadow nerf Priestess for the fact that they changed that one window in Birdcage into a pellet, so that makes Priestess in Birdcage a little less strong. However, Priestess still remains dominant in that area.
Yeah, so this is going to be interesting. Perfumer as the last ban, with the Spider and Poland ban. Oh wait,
oh no,
it looks like the Perfumer, the Entomologist instead. Very understandable. Entomologist is a very strong kiter, even after she was nerfed from being completely broken.
Yeah,
she's still a very strong kiter, just a little bit more difficult to play than she was previously. But both her kiting and support can be very, very strong. So understandable why that would be a ban, especially, again, if Fafa pulls out, for example, Ripper again. Entomologist is a hard counter to Ripper, as the bees completely absorb the Foggy Blade, and therefore that's impossible to land on an Entomologist with her bees.
Yeah, no, exactly. And especially Entomologist is, I mean, I told you, Priestess is very dominant in that hospital area, but the same kind of goes for Entomologist, because Entomologist can put those bees in the hallway, and there's no way for the hunter to go around it. And it definitely forces the hunter to slow down too, so Entomologist is also really strong in hospital. Currently just waiting to see what the final two survivors will be.
Alright, Prospector.
Oh, we're gonna see round 2 of the Prospector. I do want to see the Prospector kind of bit. We didn't get to see too much of the Prospector in the second round, so I do hope we get to see him shine a bit, because Prospector is a really good character. We haven't really talked about it before, but I mean, he gets chosen in ICL a lot for a reason. Also Gravekeeper, and we're actually gonna see a comeback of Fafa's Ripper.
Alright, so with more bans now and no mechanic in the game anymore, which will definitely give Fafa more time with, in terms of the ciphers getting decoded. They won't be going as fast, and the only normal decoder on this team is the Prospector. Everyone else does have decoding debuffs. So we'll see how this comeback is. I'm excited to see Fafa playing again, pulling back the Ripper, and
yeah, no, me
we'll
too.
see if he makes a comeback.
I'm really down for this comeback. However, at the same time, this is not gonna be easy. Like I said, Ripper is more of a chase-based hunter. He's not too strong on camping. Of course, he can pull some tricks, but other than that, it's pretty straightforward. However, for Chase, with that Foggy Blade, is able to do a lot, is able to cut those chases short. And since you do have survivors such as Priestess, such as Mercenaries, such as Gravekeeper, and even Prospect to a certain extent, they are not easy chase characters.
Mm-hmm.
And that can definitely make things a lot harder for Fafa here. Of course, at the same time, like you said, on the decoding, they are a bit slow, so it does give Fafa some more time. And especially if Fafa manages to cut that first kite short, it can really hurt Fuzion. It can hurt them a lot. So that's something they have to be mindful of. The fact that they sacrificed overall decoding speed for some survivability on the team. Definitely a risk in itself, but for the fact that Fafa relies a lot on that chase, if they manage to pull it off, it can be very hard for Fafa in order to turn this around.
Mm-hmm. Well, so we'll see how this goes. I mean, there's more room to work with than with a mechanic, but it's definitely a difficult map to play on and difficult survivors to deal with. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, indeed. I'm very excited. I mean, I will be honest, part of me is hoping for that comeback. I would love to see Ripper win a matchup. Actually, when I started playing this game, Ripper was my first hunter, so I always feel a bit of nostalgia when I see him being played. Makes me really happy to see him being utilized. At the same time, of course, I know it's not really tournament viable, but that in itself makes me even more excited to see him being played. So, yeah, definitely looking forward. Might even be slightly biased on that, I'll be honest. But at the same time, Fuzion, really good survivor team. They have put out amazing results throughout Season 1 and 2. So, yeah, this is going to be a great final matchup between these two.
Alright, so let's see. It looks like he spots the Priestess immediately, but she does spawn outside of hospital and will go in there straight away. So this is going to be a very difficult chase if Fafa chooses to commit to it.
Definitely a good spawn in favor of Fuzion.
Mm-hmm. However, with Peepers, it is a bit easier to chase in hospital. However, it's still a Priestess, which will make this very difficult to deal with.
And especially, it's not just any Priestess, it is Numer's Priestess too. Numer, very notorious for his Priestess, is going to take a Foggy Blade here, like from putting down that portal. Does give him quite some distance, still has another portal to work with. So he's just going to go ahead, continue to loop this area.
Now no more portals, and we'll see if Fafa can catch up to him right here. He's no longer in hospital, and the Foggy Blade is back. So will Fafa be able to get it down here? And he does land that second Foggy Blade.
Not
relatively quick down.
Recovery coming in. That is beautifully played on Fafa. This is the quick down that he needed. Really well played. Especially considering
and now Chaired on the Merc Cypher. Now Chaired on the Merc Cypher, so that's going to disturb their Cypher rush. The Gravekeeper and Prospector can continue decoding, but the Mercenary will be forced to get off of his Cypher, whether he chooses to save or not. Of course, it does look like he is going in for that save.
Nice job running into the Hunter here, but is a bit late on that rescue. But there's the portal. Is no more
There's the portal.
No more Foggy Blade available for the next 7 seconds, so is the Priestess going to be able to rebound?
No more Foggy Blade, but also the Priestess did use up her portal, and Foggy Blade is back up. So will Fafa get this down right here? And he does.
Another Foggy! So they did manage to pop 2 ciphers, however, Numer was not able to kite away from Mercenary Cypher Machine. So that puts them in a bit more of a rough spot. Mercenary is forced to rotate out. Now Gravekeeper is being spotted out. Seems like Fafa is not gonna be pressuring too hard. Rather wants to confirm his first kill, rather than try and push too hard and get too greedy.
Right here, now that he realizes that they're selling the Priestess, he can go ahead and start going for another chase, and there's still 3 ciphers remaining. And the only 2 of them are pretty far worked on. The others are not quite as far, but he is chasing the Prospector now, getting him off of that cipher.
So
Switching off to the
Mercenary is going to be the next star, is running into that T-wall. Definitely not great. Mercenary is forced to use his final elbow pad, but now he is defenseless, especially against the Foggy Blade, but he dodges it around the tree.
Nice dodge around the tree, but he will be taking a hit right here. Still 3 ciphers remaining. Prospector's cipher is getting done very soon. It looks like it's at about 90% now, but Gravekeeper will not be able to finish his cipher if he is going in for that save, most likely, unless he waits it out.
I mean, it is a mercenary chair, so that does give them a few options. So this is an interesting spot, because Polars did do a good job kiting away from the ciphers. He realized, I need to get away from Ruins and from Shag, because those are the final 2 ciphers. However, at the same time, with that T-wall area, Mercenary no more elbow pads, there's no way he can get away from that area. There is absolutely no way.
And also by committing to that cipher, now Fafa was able to get all the way to the Gravekeeper, and now he can chase him. Oh, and the blink switch to get him down right there and stuff so that he can't make the rescue. Looks like the Prospector will be heading in now, but will he be able to do anything right now?
Well, it seems like Fafa is kind of going back and forth, kind of trying to bait the Prospector to make a move. Gravekeeper is going to get shared.
Ooh, the foggy right there.
Nice.
And the stuff.
And gets the stuff as well. Beautiful job.
Very nice job.
The comeback we have been waiting for from Fafa. The comeback of that Ripper. Wow. Coming
Amazing
in with an elimination.
Yeah, he got a well-timed down on, because if the cipher had been primed at that time, maybe there was something to... But that Mercenary's cipher ended up being the last cipher, and it wasn't done in time for them to pull off the rescue on the Mercenary. And so that was very well played by Fafa, taking advantage of Priestess's location, bringing him over to that cipher, and pressuring that, and getting those quick, continuing to secure that down on the Priestess, and then getting that next chase, forcing the Mercenary into a good area so that he could get that down there, and then just putting up all that pressure on the ciphers by walking over to Shaq to the Gravekeeper cipher. Yeah, great job right there.
Definitely did not stand around that one. Of course, like I said, Mercenary has a relatively long chair, so if Fafa decided to camp that one, they might have been still able to clutch a draw out of that one. Fafa probably realized this too. He probably as well said, well, Mercenary's not going to go anywhere. I can put him on his chair. He has no more elbow pads. It's T-wall. He's not going anywhere. He does not have a window speed boost too, because it's a Mercenary, and I sure hope Mercenary brings Tide Turner, especially in a double rescue comp. So yeah, I mean, we did see a 3-9 Mercenary yesterday, so you never know. You never know. But yeah, I definitely would assume that Mercenary brought Tide Turner, which we of course know because he rescued the Priestess the first chair. But yeah, they ended up selling the Priestess. Mercenary got chaired in that corner. Like I said, chaired away from the ciphers, but sadly wasn't enough because it's such a bad chair for survivors.
And from there on, difficult to rescue from.
yeah, no, it's just, it was a risk. Definitely was a risk on Fusion's part, but well played from Fafa. Gotta give it to him.
Very well played. So now the Fusion's actually in a very difficult position here because all that WLR needs at this point is they just need a one-man escape to go ahead and take the series, whereas the Hunter for Fusion is going to have to get a four-man to continue on to have a chance.
Yeah, no, they need a 4-man and then we'll go into a 4th round.
They need B for you supremacy. That's what we need.
Well, if they were here.
Bro, Stan Schmitty. Okay, I'm out.
I mean, I might consider Stan Schmitty if he shows up to ICL Season 3. Might. But other than that, for now, I'm just Fafa, man. Fafa is doing amazing. But at the same time, Ching is also an incredibly strong hunter, and Ching, Ching, this is the first time Ching's playing this season, and obviously didn't allow any survivor escapes so far. So, going off that data, of course, 100% 4-man elimination rate from last season. I think Ching also barely let any of those survivors escape. I think there might have been a few instances where Ching had a survivor escape in the later rounds. But other than that, Ching, incredibly strong hunter. And I mean, talking about the B4U supremacy, Ching did 4-man B4U in Go-Away 4. So, going off of that too, Ching is definitely a powerhouse hunter.
Very strong hunter. I'm definitely curious to see what he will try to pull out here. I would expect for them to most likely be banning his Dream Witch and Sculptor, as they are some of his strongest hunters. And so it'll be interesting to see what Ching decides to go with, whether it's Poland or Axeboy. Since Axeboy's nerf, he has been difficult to play, but he's still a very strong hunter. And with a lot of bans, it's not like he can't pull anything off. And once again, Poland is definitely a force to be reckoned with, especially with so many bans in a late round.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, Poland in general. We have seen a really strong Poland from Fuzion. However, sadly, Tyrone stopped playing this game. Definitely sad to see that happen because Tyrone had to be one, if not my favorite Breaking Wheel player. Of course, you have Alpha One, who's also a really strong Breaking Wheel. Fafa also makes a great Breaking Wheel, and there's definitely some other Breaking Wheel players on this server. So, of course, but at the same time, Tyrone, man, really sad to see him go. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
So, Tyrone, if you're still watching this by any chance, because Fuzion did used to be your old team, and to anyone in chat, just bit of a shout out to Tyrone, bit of a little, maybe a bit too late goodbye, but yeah, really sad to see him go. So just paying my last tributes to Tyrone with this one.
Right, so the bans are starting. It looks like Seer, Mechanic, and Mercenary are banned by the Hunter, and the survivors banned the Dream Witch and Sculptor. So, again, bans that can really work for any hunter.
Yeah, Ching is definitely keeping his options open. At the same time, WLR survivors are playing it safe, banning both Rematch and Sculptor, saying we're not gonna deal with the meta, not in third round. We don't want to be bothered with it. This, of course, leave options open, such as that Breaking Wheel, which definitely is a possibility here. Priestess and Forward being locked in. Forward, smart choice. Was able to turn the game around. Priestess, we already talked about that as well. Of course, Numer did go down relatively quickly, considering that it was a priestess in hospital, but that was mainly because Fafa just utilized these foggy blades really well. And you can definitely see that Fafa is used to such abilities, because you have Ripper's Foggy Blade, you have Soul Weaver's Spit. Kinda works with the same mechanism, other than that the Foggy Blade of course counts for half damage and not just a quarter. But you can see very well that Fafa is very used to using such skills and is able to get really quick downs even on stronger survivors.
So, with the priestess and forward lock, depending on the next, I'm interested to see the next ban. If he is planning to pull out the Axe Boy, I wouldn't be surprised to see an Entomologist banned, as once again another very hard counter to Axe Boy as well. It's possible that for the sake of avoiding decoding, he might be banning someone like Prisoner as well, but I guess we'll find out in a bit. There's definitely a lot of options, and yeah, I mean,
sorry, I
don't really know what other.
And I saw, because Tyrone quit to focus on school, and I see Emma saying, "School taking our strongest soldiers away from us." I thought it was funny. But yeah, no, you're not wrong. Definitely not wrong.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see which survivors WLR will pick out for a third round as well. There's so many different options that are very strong to pull out, but it often kind of depends on what individual players specialize in towards the later rounds.
Yeah. And that's why I like third round so much, because especially on the Hunter part, you always see Dream Wedge, Sculptor. These are like the kind of standard first and second round picks. And from there on, it always comes down to non-meta, or not necessarily non-meta, because you do have some sort of meta picks, such as Breaking Wheel, is still really strong. But it comes down to, indeed, what does the Hunter specialize in other than the meta Hunter picks? And for Fafa, for example, we saw it Soul Weaver and Ripper, and there's other Hunters that will suddenly pull out, I think it was yesterday, Feaster.
Mm-hmm.
And
no, there's definitely a lot of options.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I did say, of course, Hunters are very different from each other, and Survivors do have it easier picking up a new character as they look more alike. But at the same time, you only have to like specialize, or I shouldn't say only, because that's definitely underdoing it. Specializing in 3 Hunters is already kind of hard, and 3 Hunters is not even really what you need specializing. You actually need 4 for the fact that these teams know most tournament players. So for these Hunters, they know, alright, we have Fafa. Okay, what does Fafa play? Okay, Fafa plays Soul Weaver, Fafa plays Breaking Wheel, Fafa plays Ripper, like that. And what you're gonna do, especially in third round, you're gonna be like, okay, Fafa plays Soul Weaver, it's really strong, we're gonna ban that. Fafa plays Ripper, alright, we have a chance against that, so we're not gonna ban him, but we're gonna do a counter team comp.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, the more knowledge you have, the more advantages you have, because you can start going counter team comps against Hunters if you know who they're gonna play. And especially if you know that they don't have any other options after that. So it can make for an even more difficult time for Hunters.
Yeah, no, indeed. But yeah, another one to say, like, you can, even if you specialize in 3 hunters, they can just go ahead, bend 2, and then make a counter comp for your 3rd hunter, which is what you see happen a lot. So that's why you need 4 hunters, because if you do so, survivors cannot do they cannot hard counter your 3rd hunter, especially if they're somewhat different, because you have certain survivors. Let's say Gravekeeper. Like, Gravekeeper's overall fairly good survivor, but he's really strong against Breaking Wheel. But he's weaker against other hunters, for example. And if you go ahead and make a hard counter team comp with, like, survivors, there's the Gravekeeper forward coming in too. You have like slow down decoding, and if you have a hunter that's really strong at chase and can make sure to hit that Gravekeeper out of his shuffle, get her some more presence, and then get her even more presence through regular attacks and get that Gravekeeper down fairly quickly, even with those 4 hits, it will be in vain, and it can definitely bite you back. So having to choose a hard counter against a certain hunter can bite you back if they opt to go with a different hunter. And with that, as a surviving team, you have to keep that in mind, and you have to kind of like spread your chances. Like, okay, they could play Breaking Wheel, but they can also play Bloody Queen, so we might go with Wildling, but Wildling is weak against Breaking Wheel, so we have to make up for that choosing Perfumer, because Perfumer is better against Breaking Wheel and also works against Bloody Queen. So you really have to weigh out your options in that case, which definitely does not make it easy for the surviving team, which is also, by the way, why sometimes it takes really long for these teams to do their bannings, because they really have to think it through. They really have to think through their options.
The last survivor ban is Perfumer? It's so tiny, it's hard for me to see.
Yeah, no, that indeed is the Perfumer, yeah.
Alright, Perfumer, once again, a survivor that can be difficult to play against for all of the hunters that Shing plays, but yeah, I don't really know what he could pull out here. There's so many different options. I mean, he's strong.
Prisoner and Gravekeeper are gonna be chosen, so this is interesting, because the issue with this is not necessarily a triple rescue decoder team comp, but kind of. Not entirely, because Priestess, of course, isn't a rescuer. Priestess is a high survivability kind of.
We'll be throwing out the Bloody Queen.
Oh no, we're gonna see Chink's Bloody Queen! Ooh.
Yeah, after the Perfumer ban, I did start expecting the possibility of a Bloody Queen. It'll be interesting to see. Bloody Queen is a very strong hunter. Typically for ties, though, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, that's why
plays he makes
to me
to pull out a 4-man in this situation.
A 4-man with Bloody Queen. I mean, for those who have been watching the finals today for, I think it was IPS, if I pronounced it correctly, I'm not quite sure. But we actually saw GotJ pull out Bloody Queen too, and actually 4-manning, so it's definitely still possible.
It's definitely
still possible.
But it's definitely quite a difficult team to face. He's really gonna have to hope to find that prisoner as soon as possible to get that down, because everyone else on that team is a difficult chase. Forward and Gravekeeper, and Priestess, especially when she's in hospital, can really counter the mirror and kite it out, which would put him in a very difficult position.
Yeah, no, indeed. This is gonna be interesting. If the prisoner gets found early on, it can definitely result in a 4-man. Still gonna be hard, but there is a possibility for Ching to 4-man this.
Yeah, and
if they manage to rotate
on the team as well.
Yeah, but if they manage to rotate the prisoner out, and then, I mean, quenching is still a thing, so they might still go ahead and bring quenching for the prisoner to find them in case they cannot manage to do so early game. But then, like you said, there's forward coming in, so that would mean that the survivors get a 50-second head start. And from there on, if prisoner still goes down in 2 mirrors, there's the forward to make sure that the prisoner just lives long enough for the priestess and the gravekeeper to push those ciphers a little bit more. Just a bit more. And that can definitely put themselves up for a draw as well.
And unfortunately, just waiting for quenching, especially in this current meta, can really put you in a difficult position, because by the time it's up, ciphers can get really far. And especially on this map, if everyone else is decoding and the Bloody Queen doesn't find prisoner first, by the time quenching pops up, he can just rotate into and at that point, that's still going to be a very difficult chase, especially if Priestess has time to set up portals to support him. So this will definitely be a difficult game, but I'm excited to see how it plays out.
Yeah, also for those wondering why we didn't start yet, we're still waiting for one of the survivors to get into the game, so our apologies for taking a bit. Also, I have a bit of unfortunate news here, but we were actually gonna play out XQ versus Our Memory. However, sadly, due to some circumstances on XQ's part, they could not make it today, and for that reason, they have decided to give the win to Our Memory, which I think does not really matter for the standings, but it does mean that we're not gonna watch that matchup today, so we're just gonna play out this matchup, and that sadly will be it for today.
Alright, so this very well may be the last matchup, but
it might be, unless of course Ching comes through with it was Our Memory that cannot make it. My apologies. So Our Memory cannot make it, and then XQ wins the matchup. But yeah, if Ching manages to 4-man in this round, we're gonna see 4th round, and we'll we will play that out. Because of course, with Team Tickle, we did not manage to do so. Was a very long stream for those who have been there. So yeah, but this time around we will play the 4th round on stream if it is to happen.
Yeah.
It's still, I mean, it can happen. It's Ching. At the same time, it is Bloody Queen. It is not the easiest team comp to deal with.
Yeah.
But we're just gonna.
But once again, if anyone knows how to take advantage of survivor mistakes, any small mistake, Ching is one of the hunters that can really spiral a game after the smallest mistake.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Alright, and it looks like we'll be heading into the game soon.
Kat says, I'll donate $20 if Win says before you supremacy. Come on, for the $20, come on.
I will consider it.
Alright, so you're gonna see that rune spawn forward spawning at Shack, so that's already pretty good for WLR.
Yeah, and if you take a look, the prisoner did actually spawn by hospital, so it looks like he will be in a pretty safe spot. Using the mirror right there, but
it's Ching hunting, Ching plays for Fuzion. Yeah, good job from the forward, just waiting around the Shack. Ching not successful getting that mirror off. Gets the pellets on too. What a start for WR. Quenching is gotta come in. Bloody Queen does not have teleport, but she has that mirror, and she's got a mirror right onto the prisoner.
And there comes in that priestess support with the portals to dodge that mirror immediately, so that Ching is forced to switch and go ahead and chase the priestess as the prisoner is in hospital. Blinking for the first hit. And she's just gonna run straight for hospital because she knows that she can kite out, which would put Ching in a very difficult position.
Yeah, going. I mean, it does put prisoner off the cipher machine. Ooh!
Looks like he missed the
Down
pallet stun right
late.
there. So now he has 2 people injured, and looks like switching the chase to the prisoner as he did miss that pallet stun. And did end up giving a free hit because of that. But he did miss the mirror here, and so the prisoner is just going to be hospital loop to stall as much time as he can.
I mean, the god pallet is gone, so that does give Ching some options here, but it's still hospital, and prisoner is doing a good job looping it. Great patience, because Ching was waiting to see what side he was gonna come up with, but he decided to be patient, not loop around just yet. He's gonna adjust his mirror here, though.
And a good down on the prisoner with that next mirror, making sure he landed that. And he will now chair him on the cipher that the priestess was doing. It is one of the worked on ciphers, and now they won't be able to decode that cipher until the prisoner gets away from it. And that cipher was quite far.
Yeah, indeed. Ciphers do have some good progress. Shack has already been started on 2, so they have their final cipher machines.
It looks like they do have all of the ciphers worked on that they plan to do. And now the prisoner is going to have to get away from there. Oh, but the double down on the Gravekeeper.
Prisoner indeed has to come through, getting away. They cannot afford a double down here.
Keeper switch right here. It's an interesting choice, but Ching, he's going to try to prevent these ciphers from getting done, because now that they're so far, he really needs to make sure they can't finish them. But yeah, now he does have to get this prisoner down as well. Good stun from the forward supporting his team, and now the prisoner is back in hospital. Will he stay here to kite? It looks like he is going upstairs. Yep.
Man, WLR is really breaking Ching with this hospital loop.
Yeah. It's very difficult to deal with.
Yeah, no, this is just downright hospital abuse, especially with the forward coming into harass too. It's going to take a hit here, but it does mean that prisoner is getting even more distance. It does also mean, of course, that the forward is not really able to harass unless he wants to risk going down, which is not something you typically want.
Looks like the Gravekeeper does get hit out of the shovel.
Shovel!
So that is now... This is a new down for the Bloody Queen, and once again, we'll be chairing on Statue Cypher, really keeping the pressure up on this Cypher and not letting them finish it.
Yeah, but it does seem like Prisoner is going to try boost it from Hospital. Hospital's still up to... You see that they are really going to prioritize the team's health. It is really good that Ching was forced to switch off of the prisoner. Gravekeeper is of course being chaired here, but it is Gravekeeper's first chair, and it definitely, especially considering this is a Bloody Queen, gives opportunities to WLR to get some escapes out of this match.
Yeah, so it looks like the priestess is trying to stall as much time. She knew she wouldn't make that rescue if she took that mirror hit earlier and went back inside to just go ahead and pop the Cypher. And while she was distracting, the forward was able to come in without getting spotted, and will try to pull this rescue off now. He does still have all that football, and with Peepers as the trait, that means no risk of excitement, and if he chooses to, he can harass here to ensure that they have as many people up as possible for endgame.
Yeah, and they did choose to do another Cypher machine, which is definitely the safest option, as we see that Jing is just consistently pressuring this Cypher at statue. But the forward is gonna harass here, is gonna stall more, Ballad stun, and there is the Cypher pop too. Everyone is up and running.
And the mirror is on cooldown, and it's likely that Ching will have to use it to down someone here. If he uses it on the forward, he has portals and footfall to work with. So it looks like he will go for the gate and onto the prisoner here. Putting a peeper down to keep up that pressure, make sure he's aware of where everyone is on the map.
I mean, I'll be honest, there's only so much Ching can do, especially since he does not have teleport. It's very unlikely this is going to result in a 4-man elimination. So really have to give it to WLR. They played this beautifully. And like I said, they really abused Ching with that hospital loop.
Yeah, they really took advantage. They made very good use of priestesses and forward support to keep each other alive, and they did a really excellent job of just using hospital and doing everything they could. And so it looks like it will be...
That will be a
3 people escaping right here.
Yeah.
Prisoner may be picking himself up, but this does secure WLR's win against Fuzion here.
Yeah, no, definitely. Ching needed that 4-man, but was sadly unsuccessful. I mean, of course, in the end, this was a Bloody Queen, and Bloody Queen is typically a draw type hunter, and especially on a map such as Sacred Heart Hospital. That hospital can break a lot of hunters, and yeah, that's exactly what we saw happen, especially with the forward being that first chase. It's really rough. It's really rough to get 4-man out of that.
I mean, this was kind of a game that was pretty dependent on the spawns for the Bloody Queen to have a chance, and unfortunately the spawns just weren't quite lucky for her, and as a result the teamwork was just very good on WLR's part there, with supporting with the priestess portals to allow the prisoner to the first mirror that was right on top of him with quenching effect.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I gave it to the forward, but you gotta give it to the priestess too. They really said, all right, we have prisoner being our weakest link. We're gonna go ahead to protect him to the best of our ability with those portals, with those stuns. And so they did, and they got a 4-man escape. Beautiful way to end the last match of the playoffs for this season. And that also means that WLR is the winner of the Division B bracket.
Yeah, very nice job from both teams. I mean, both teams played very well. There were great plays from both sides. It was really great to watch.
Yeah, no, definitely. This was a beautiful matchup. And once again, I'm really excited. I'm so happy that we got to see this live on stream. And I cannot wait to see what both of these teams are going to pull out in the playoffs. So I have to make another bit of an announcement. Maybe not too great news for some, but next weekend we are going to take a break. So we are not going to play the playoffs next weekend. We are going to play it the week after. So the 25th and 26th will be the first week of the playoffs, and then the 2nd and the 3rd of October will be the final weekend. So next week we don't have any matches. We are gonna take a little break, and then the next weekend we are gonna go into the playoffs. So better make sure to be there, because that's gonna be all the best teams from both divisions facing off against each other. So this is definitely something you do not want to miss out on. Anyways, I want to thank everyone who has been donating today for their donations to stream. Like I said, it is a huge help, and it will help us out get some more amazing teams, and, you know, maybe even be for you. You never know. But it will definitely help us get some more amazing players to play for ICL next season. And to any of the others, thank you for your support as well, because even watching ads already helps us loads. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for supporting these teams, for supporting us, the commentators, the streamers. Olive, huge shout out to you too for working 2 days in a row, streaming for us.
Huge shout out to you too, Daza, for so much for ICL, like graphics and setup and commentary and everything. You've done a lot too. Give yourself the credit as well.
Thank you. I mean, I like doing this. I'm glad I can give something back to the community. So, but thank you regardless. But yeah, thank you everyone for being here. We're gonna close this off for now, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. So make sure to be there because once again, you do not want to miss out on that. See you later, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day or good night for those who will be going to sleep after this. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.